Do we think the regime right now is going to ever find any kind of stability or legitimacy, both from the Afghani people but also internationally?
I think let's deal with the international situation first. I mean, as I said, when we saw a wave uh, of gloating, if you like, from America's opponents around the world, whether it was from former Stalinists or dictators like the Chinese regime or President Putin and so on, who gloated in the early days about this. But the reality of it is they are all very worried about what is going to happen. There is a feeling, and it's true, that China and Russia have been strengthened out of this because their main opponent in the current Cold War has been weakened. But they're also very concerned that Afghanistan is going to be a source of instability on its borders. China has a border. Russia has no direct border, but it has a security agreement with the Central Asian countries and so on. Iran is worried. Turkey also doesn't have a border, but it's strengthening its wall and so on. And I heard today that Greece is doing the same to try and prepare for a wave of refugees and so on. And it's not just refugees that they're worried that will spill out. It's the idea that within Afghanistan, you could have the development of new, more extreme, even than the Taliban, extremist groups like ISIS-K, responsible for the bombing yesterday, or some of the Tajik terrorist groups that are supposed to be being strengthened in the present period. And so all these regimes are very concerned about the stability of the country, but they have no answer. But we should also remember the point that the Taliban was a direct result of the American intervention in Afghanistan when the Soviets were occupying Afghanistan. And actually, to the credit of the Soviet Union, at least they recognized secular rights in the country. There wasn't the same repression of women as then developed when the Taliban took over and then started. But the Americans built up the different Mujahideen groups, the different Muslim reactionary groups in opposition to the Soviet troops. And when the Soviet troops left, 1979, I think, 1989, I think it was, when the Soviet troops left, of course, these groups saw it as a victory. They gained confidence. They began to take over the region. They came to power. Then you had the new civil war breaking out with the Northern Alliance involved and so on. And I think this is what you're going to see now. So you will probably see splits develop in the Taliban, which will be a source of instability. You'll have the growth and strength of groups like ISIS-K, responsible for yesterday's act and so on. And you'll also have groups that are sponsored by the Chinese, by the Russians, probably by the Americans and the British, who have a long history in Afghanistan as well. And all of those groups as well will add into the mix. And we'll come to another situation where you have inter-clan, inter-ethnic civil war developing because of the inability of the government to resolve the problems.